Thanks so much. All right. Well, let's make sure everyone's gotten in here. Thanks so much for everyone coming. This is excellent. All right. I hope you can see my screen share and that you're looking at a beautiful picture of the University of Guelph there. Let me just toss over to the next slide. There you go. That's not the best picture of myself, but that is me. My name is Amy Van Rensburg. I am the Assistant Manager of International Recruitment here at Guelph. You can jot down my email there, but I'll put it at the end as well if you have any questions. So yeah, thanks so much for coming, and I hope this is a really informative presentation to learn a bit about Guelph. So you've either come here because you know about Guelph and you have some questions and you want them answered, or you've come here because you have no idea what Guelph is or you've never heard of the University of Guelph. Either way, this is going to be great information for you. So we're going to answer these 7 questions as we go along. Again, it won't take too long. I'm going to brush over quite a few of them and just get through a lot of information in a short amount of time. So anything that you don't hear here, I'll make sure I give you some resources to find at the end, or any questions you have, I'm happy to chat with you after as well. So let's firstly talk about, what is Guelph? Where is Guelph? I've never heard of Guelph. So Guelph is actually rated one of the top 50 places to live here in Canada. It's about an hour outside of Toronto, Ontario. So you're close enough to the big city that you can have a bit of a big city life, but it's also a bit nicer out in the suburbs that you can get away from all the chaos of downtown Toronto. We are a mid-sized university, so even though you think, oh, we're outside a bit of the big city, it's actually quite a large university that we live in. So let's talk about the actual campus. So what is the University of Guelph? What is it that we do, and what do we study and everything? So firstly, as I said, we have about 2,700 undergraduate students. So we're considered a mid-sized Canadian university. Of that, we have 86 different majors. So again, I'm not going to go through all of them today. That would just be absolutely far too many, but I'll brief over all our different programs and what you can study here, and talk about something like co-op, which is something that's very exciting and you can get hands-on learning while you're here. Of that 27,000 students, we have about 1,700 international students. So thanks for joining us today. If you are an international student, we have students from over 120 different countries. Again, this is such a great place for international students to land. We've got lots of resources for international students. And Guelph is actually, one of their new initiatives is to internationalize, meaning we're hoping to introduce more international students in the coming years to the campus. So that number is going to grow. We're making lots of initiatives across campus to help and support international students once they get here. So we'll talk a bit more about student support later on, but it's a great place to land for international students from a range of different countries. If you're from the US today, we're going to be talking about US curriculum in hopes that you get an idea of different US, how we would welcome a US applicant. But let's quickly go look into things like campus and housing. So we do have on-campus housing. We have, I think, 7 different resident halls. We have a female-only one. About 98% of our first-year students do decide to live on campus. So we have a great community, obviously not this year, unfortunately. But we do have a great number of students that decide to come on campus in terms of our housing as well. So it's a great, you can have singles, doubles, triples, quadruples, with kitchens, without kitchens. There's a price range that's involved in that, but it is a great opportunity for students. Also in our housing is something we call academic clusters. So if you decided you wanted to study biology, you have the option to tick on your campus housing that you'd like to live with other students that are studying in biology. So then not only do you meet students in your classes, but you can all study together as well. We call them academic clusters. So you don't have to be a part of that if you'd rather meet people outside of your program, but if you're in maybe a more difficult program or somewhere where you think you'd need some support, that's a great option as well. Clubs. Now, clubs are fantastic. We're going to get into clubs a bit later on in terms of student support, but if you hear any of our student testimonials online or any of what our students have experienced here in terms of their time on campus, clubs have been a huge part of it. So we'll go into more detail about specific clubs that you can use, but I would say there's clubs from, I think it's cultural clubs, religious clubs, performing arts clubs. The agricultural club is massive here. They have jackets, they got conferences. It's a great thing to join here. So take a look on our website and look up all the different clubs you can join as well. Dining halls, oh my goodness. So I can't talk about Guelph without talking about food. We have actually been ranked the top food university in Canada, I think for the last like 10 years. We have just dominated in that category. So we have such fantastic food options here on campus that it's ranked not only as different types of them, but just the quality is just insane. So you get a meal card when you join, and it's almost like at a restaurant. You just pay for what you eat. There's no set amount that you do. You can just have different levels on your card of how much money you want to put on there. You get discounts in the town of Guelph as well. So if you want to go eat off campus, you can use your student card and get discounts as well. My husband said this was a horrible picture because it just shows cookies. So maybe if you go on the website, you can see different pictures of what our food looks like and all our different facilities in terms of dining as well. So now we're going to talk about athletics. So we do have 19 varsity sports that you can join. These range from, I think, track and field's one of our top ones, rowing, hockey, field hockey. So there is a huge amount that you can go and support or be a part of. If you don't want to be a part of a varsity sport, there are so many clubs that you can join as well. I think we have basketball, baseball, soccer clubs. Everyone can get involved there. And as you can see on the right there, we have a 25,000 square foot fitness center. So that picture is only from the one angle. If you turn it around the other side, there's everything behind you as well. I think it's got yoga studios all around the top. We have 4 beach volleyball courts, 3 lit fields. We've got hockey, ice hockey rinks. So it's a really great place. Unfortunately, a lot of it's closed at the moment, but next year it's all going to hopefully be open. And it's such a great place for students to enjoy different parts of their experience here at Guelph, not just academically. But that tears me right perfectly into, what can you study? What is it you can do here at Guelph? The whole purpose of university, what degrees can you get? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go through, again, as I said before, there's 86 different majors that we can talk about today. I'm not going to go into all detail of all 86, or we would be here for a very long time. So I'm just briefly going to go over the different colleges that we have here at campus. My advice to you would be to take a look at each one and look through the list. If something, there's a lot of words on the screen, but if you look through the list, if something jumps out at you or makes you feel excited or anything like that, just jot it down, go look at our website and learn a bit more about it. All right, so let's go on to our first one, which is the Bachelor of Arts. Again, long list of options here, but have a read through. We think we have 25 different majors you can do within the Bachelor of Arts. Now, we like to say this isn't just any arts degree, that you're not going to be sitting behind your desk and just learning your program. It's a really hands-on experience that's going to give you a lot of experience to give you more of a career advantage when you end. For example, something like co-op. So co-op's the ability to do work-study placements in between your study. So you stop your studies for a semester and go do work in the area that you're studying and then come back. So we allow these placements to happen in between your semesters. I would say most of the Bachelor of Arts programs have great co-op as well. So you end up not only just with a degree, but a full resume in that field of study as well. So our Bachelor of Science, again, a super long list. It is, I would say, if you go walking around the campus, this has some of the best buildings on it. It has such great facilities. There are so much going on in terms of our science programs. So the biological science are listed first there, and then your physical sciences are right underneath it. However, if you are debating between the two and you're not quite sure, and a lot of these I'm not quite sure, a lot of these programs here for the Bachelor of Science have very common first year courses. So you can enter one of these, do your first year and realize, oh, actually I was a bit more interested in something else, I'd like to transfer. These are very transferable in their first year. Not all of them, some of them are obviously very specific, but I would say majority of these, if you're a bit debating between them, they all have common first year courses as well. Now, what's really exciting is we actually have one called the Bachelor of Arts and Science. So I'm going to flop back between the arts and the science here. So there is an option if you don't know if you want to study the arts or you don't want to study the science. We don't do something called a double major. So you're not allowed to double major in something. We'll talk about minors a bit later. But we do have what we call the Bachelor of Arts and Science. So you're able to, exactly that, have a bachelor in both arts and science. So you pick 2 disciplines. So let's say you want to study chemistry and art history. So we go back, you've got art history at the top there. And you also want to study chemistry for something to be like an art historian. You can get a Bachelor of Arts and Science in art history and chemistry. You can do the same by studying criminal justice and biochemistry. And you can work in forensic science. So this is a very appealing program in terms of Bachelor of Arts and Science, and that if you can't quite decide between the two, this is a great option for something like that. All right, so going on to commerce or our business school. As you can see in the top right there, it says Gordon S. Lang School of Business and Economics. This is a beautiful building on campus. It is brand new. As you can see, we just opened the Lang School a couple years ago. It is a fantastic, a really well-known business school. Those are the degrees, the programs you can take on the right there, the different majors. And again, they all actually have co-op add-ons. So you don't just end up with a business degree, you end up with a business degree with a co-op add-on. So again, it's something that could work for if it is something you're interested in both. We are considered one of the top business schools in the world for research in economics and sustainability. And I think some of our grads have worked at places like Google, Pepsi, KPMG. It is a big range of what you can do there. Next, engineering. So again, if you kind of go through this and you think, oh, that's a lot of something that would tickle my fancy, we have some great, really specific Bachelor of Engineering programs. This is really popular with our international students as well. In all our programs, you get one major design project done per year. So even in your first year, you're given a major design project that you have to complete. So every single year you do a different design project. So not all of these have co-op, I would say most do, but they all have the option to have this project done in your first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. So again, you not only graduate with your degree, but you graduate with all these projects and hands-on experience as well. Bachelor of Bioresource Management, again, this is a beautiful way of combining if you're interested in the sciences and you're interested in business. So you looked at those business programs and those were quite exciting, or you looked at the science programs and thought, oh, but I kind of like the business side of science. This is a great combo between the two. So it's more working in the management of sciences. So it combines science and technology and business all in one. So it prepares you in a field to work in the business world in the natural setting. I hope that makes sense. So only the food industry management one has a co-op. The only reason the environmental management and equine management don't have a co-op is because they have so much hands-on experience already during the program. So to add on any sort of co-op would just be over the top of the amount of experience you would get. So there's a lot of hands-on experience with this, as you can imagine, but the co-op is for the food industry one as well. Now, Bachelor of Computing, it always looks like it's a smaller program because there's only 2 majors, but it's not. This is such a popular program across campus, has such excellent facilities. So the difference, so we have computer science and software engineering. So again, I always say computer science is the students that are creating the app and making the app and taking it from scratch and making that computer science behind it. Whereas the software engineerings are fixing the app, making it better, doing all the background things. So that's my very low level understanding of what these two are. Both of these, again, have co-ops. You get some really hands-on experience. We've had grads that have worked at Amazon and Apple and Microsoft. We've got a great number of students that have come out of this program. So again, it is such a fantastic, really appealing to international students. We have a great number of students that have come for our Bachelor of Computing programs. So I'm sorry I'm whizzing through these. I know this is a lot to take in, but I'm hoping you're just waiting for your one that you're interested in as well. So a real switch over, we're going to the Bachelor of Applied Science. So this, again, there are 3 different types of programs here. This is a very unique program in that you're dealing with more like theory and practice kind of put together in terms of human development and human behavior studies. So again, the human nutrition, you've got the food, the science, there's lots of labs involved if you're looking to be more of a dietitian. Your child studies, this is between child studies and family studies, you get, I think, over 500 hours of practicum study. So there's not a co-op with these necessarily because, again, there's so much hands-on experience within the program. I think with child studies, you get 500 hours of work with children. We have a daycare on campus that they have walls that you observe the children and do studies on them. So observe them and their behavior as well. So it's a great program in that you get a lot of practical experience. So when you graduate, you can say, oh no, I've done that in person, not just read about it in a book. So it's a really popular program we have there as well. So our Bachelor of Agriculture. Now, again, this looks like we only have a couple little programs there, but this is a huge part of our campus. We're really known for our agricultural programs. So this combines like food, science, and business all together. And as you can see we using the land and the resources. It's more of this is Canada's largest industry is agriculture. So you can imagine the amount of jobs and opportunities that come from here. And Guelph is really known for their agricultural progression. Again, when I talked about clubs, this is a huge club. I think they're called the Aggies, and they have jackets and conferences, and they get speakers to come in. So it's a really popular program in terms of the specific things. So there's an animal science and also a crop horticulture and turf grass as well. The honors agriculture is much more specific, just to study agriculture as well. Following that, I think we've all seen the news of what the world is changing environmentally. So the environmental science is more to see kind of science and nature systems and how they work together, the connection of humans and the world. So I would say this has got lots of jobs come in the future. I think it's a great place to start if you're interested in kind of learning about nature and how it would all work. I think the Bachelor of Environmental Science is a really specific one that not all universities offer, and is a fantastic option for a lot of our students, especially if, again, with that environment and resource management, you're looking more at the business side of things as well. It's a great combo of a really unique degree that a lot of people don't offer. Speaking of that, we also have the Bachelor of Landscape Architecture. So I always say to the students, this is your ability to look and create things outside of the building. So you aren't the architecture of the building, you are the architect of the things outside the building. So we always say that you study human behavior and how parks and systems and the ways that humans live and what appeals to them as well. Grads have worked at places like Canada's Wonderland, which is a big theme park here, and they built roller coasters. So the idea of architecture is not so much just the building, it's everything outside. The only difference with this, when you apply to this, we'll talk about the application process in a moment, but the only difference for this one is you do need to have a bit more of your design and a background information form that comes with your application. So it's not just your academics that will get you into this program. You have to explain why you're interested in it and your program. Just because it is quite a competitive program, they have an added layer to your application. Not complicated to complete, it's just an extra paper that you need to add in. Very last, we have our Doctor of Vet program. So if you know Guelph, I'm thinking you probably know us because of our veterinary school. We are the #1 vet school here in Canada. That is massive for us, and we have a huge part of our campus dedicated to not only the animal science programs you saw earlier, but to our whole vet school. Now, what is unique about this program is you cannot apply to this program directly from high school. So if you are studying in high school right now and you want to come and become a veterinary through this program, you have to complete at least 2 years of your undergraduate study first, and then you can enter the program. You don't have to do those 2 years here at Guelph. You can go study at any university. Just make sure you complete the correct prerequisite courses before you enter. So take a look at what courses you need to complete in your first 2 years. We obviously offer that all here at Guelph, and you're welcome to do it here. But as long as you complete those 2 years and you get some veterinary experience and you can look up all the different things you need to complete in the next 2 years, you can then apply to the school. Some people do complete a full degree before coming here, others do it after 2 years. It's completely up to you. But if you are interested in this being your landing point in a couple of years, make sure you get in contact with the school now. We can help you get ready for what prerequisites you need to take in the next couple of years as well. Perfect. So as I said before, there's no ability for you to do a double major besides that Bachelor of Arts and Science. So you can't go in and say, oh, I'd like to study 2 major things, but what you can do is add on a minor. So we do say to students, if there was something you want to study, but you kind of want to dabble in something else and add it on, there is no limitations to what minor you can add to any major. So if this is something you were thinking, oh, I'd like to do something really specific, this is our list of minors. Again, it's a lot of words on a page. I don't mean for you to read them all, but just see if there's something in there that jumps out at you and go, that would be interesting to do a side minor on as well. It won't add to your degree. You don't need to do an extra year. It would add to your workload. You would have to do more courses to complete it, but many people can do a major and a minor within their 4 years. So that was a huge overview of all our different programs. So the idea was just to give you an idea of, the idea was just to say, what tickles your fancy? Did any of those programs shout out to you? There's some unique ones, bioresource management and equine studies and landscape architecture, environmental studies. Have a look through our website if any of those programs jumped out at you and get more details on them. But you can also leave me any questions you want and I'll get back to you on them in terms of specific programs because I know we only have another 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to talk about admission requirements. We'll talk about also how to apply and how to get your application in. But in terms of admissions, I'm going to briefly talk a bit more about the US just because we're focusing on the US today. But if I don't cover your curriculum that you are studying, such as if you're an IB student or anything like that, just pop me an email after and I'm happy to help you with that system as well. So the admission requirements were a bit different than if you apply to a US university, in that you don't have to have any sort of essay or personal statement. All we ask is that we look at your transcript. Your transcript's necessary to tell us what required courses are needed for that program. So if you're looking to go more into the science programs, you will have to have studied science in high school, for example. So each program on our website will lay out what prerequisite courses you need for that program. Then we use those courses and those grades that you have to help complete whether you can get into that program. Each program has a different cutoff, so it's not a admission requirement to get into the university as a whole. It differs for which program you're applying to. So some programs, such as the science programs and I think computing and whatnot, and engineering, have much higher thresholds than some of the arts and science programs. So it's difficult to know whether if you get a certain score you're in. It's more so what program you apply to, and how many students are coming from that time, how many students are applying at that time as well. Then we are going test optional this year, meaning that you will have the option to add in your SAT or ACT score if you take it. However, if you do not want to take it, it is a test optional. So you don't have to send it in if you did not do well or you're unable to take it due to COVID, but if you'd like to send in your test score, you can. Last thing, in terms of your GPA, the way that we would calculate a GPA if you're coming from an American curriculum is that we're looking at your, it's a cumulative unweighted GPA. Cumulative, meaning that you will have to look at all 4 years of your high school. So we're looking at grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 and coming up with a score overall. And we're looking at it as it's unweighted. So if you did take any AP courses, we don't weigh them worth any more to raise your GPA. They're worth the same amount. However, if you did take an AP course, we can add it on potentially for university credit. It gets evaluated by the program that you're entering or what AP course you took. Next is our finances. So we're going to talk a bit about our tuition fees, which I'll show you on the next page, and some scholarships and how you can hopefully help pay for your education. So again, these are the fees for this year. They are different by program as well. Some programs are more expensive than others, especially the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. That is for when you enter the program, not for your 2 years before. And again, this could be increased over the years in terms of next year could go up about 2 or 3% per program as well. So in order to help you pay for those tuition fees, we offer 2 different types of scholarships for international students. First, then we have our entrance scholarship, which is between $17,500 and $28,500 over your 4 years. So how we calculate that is your first year, you'll be evaluated on your high school grades, and you'll get between $5,500 and $8,500 if you meet the threshold for your program. Then if you get an 80% during your time here at Guelph, and each year you'll be awarded $4,000 more. You just need to remain 80%. There is no application fee for this scholarship. It is automatically awarded to you if you hit the threshold of scholarship. And again, in years 2, 3, and 4. Next, we have the Dr. Franco Vaccarino Scholarship, which is brand new because our president, Dr. Vaccarino, has just retired and left a fantastic international scholarship for students. This allows students to not only get a scholarship of $42,000, which is almost 2 years of your tuition paid for, you also get a research position with your mentor. So you get a mentor in your program, one of the professors, to help you through your 4 years, and a research position with it. So it's quite a lucrative scholarship. This does need an application, so you will have to have an application at the end of this in order to apply for this, and that is on our website. Next, we talk about our co-op. So I mentioned a few times that you can add co-op onto a bunch of our different programs. So again, this is where you would have your program would stop. You would stop your studies. You'd go into the workforce, complete work, earn money, and then come back to your program. So there's these work terms or co-ops that we have in between for certain programs. You will do a mandatory course when you first arrive, and I think it's how to get your resume, how to do interviews and things like that. And then it's a real world process. We post the things, you go out and look for jobs, you go for interviews, you get it, you don't get it, you keep looking. The university helps you in terms of that, and you can do a 4, an 8, or 12-month ones. You can do 3 back-to-back and do a whole year of work if you like your placement and you want to stay there and do a full year and earn money. We put that money between $475 and $1,000 per week. I would say the $1,000 is more for the engineering students. They seem to earn a bit more. But again, it's a great opportunity not only to earn some money and to help with your studies and payments, but also to get some experience. That's the main thing, is that you end your time here at Guelph not only with a degree, but a full resume to say, here's all the placements and the work I did in my field of study. This does extend your degree in terms of if you do stop your studies and go into work. It could take about 5 years to complete your degree, depending on how many work placements you do. But you are not paying tuition for the time that you're working. I think you pay $200 to join the co-op term, but you halt your position. So you'll still only pay 4 years of tuition payments, but it could take you 5 years to graduate. So we do offer something called the work study program. So this is really, it allows students to work while they're studying. So this is something you can apply to. And again, you just have to prove you have some sort of financial need, and you will be available to look at all the different postings for work study. So international students can apply for any of this because they can work up to 20 hours per week on their international study permit. We, I think, have 6 or 7 different work study students that work in our office. We sit down with them at the beginning of the semester and say, show us where your courses are and where you have some free time. And we make a schedule for them based around their courses and when it works for them. And they come and help us out at the office. And it's all virtual at the moment, but they help us out at the office and get some payment for doing work for us. So it's a great time for you to work and study at the same time if you don't want to take that stopgap in your co-op, for example. Work study is a great place to start as well. So very last, I want to talk about what's it like to be an international student here at Guelph. What is not only being an international student, but what does Guelph do to make it quite special? So I'm just going to quickly go through a few things. We are, as it's written there, we're recognized as a Canadian leader in student experience, and it's so true. We do those, we do a lot of surveys and whatnot at the end of all our students' experience here and say, you know, talk about the academics, talk about the food, talk about this, and they always come back as student experience as being one of the top things they rank. It's more about academics. There's more to university than academics, and I think this really shows. So we have things like Start International, which is a 3-day orientation program just for international students. So you can join the main orientation week as well, which is a great week full of activities, and you get to learn about the campus and meet different people. But Start International is to help international students acclimatize to what life will be like in Canada. How do I get a bank account? How do I use my study permit? Things like that that are more pertaining to international students. We help you out as soon as you arrive as well. Now, the International Student Experience Team, there's support learning groups, the library, we have a student wellness center, accessibility center. As you can see, there's a huge amount of support there. So if there is something you're concerned about, your visa and study permit, for example, the student experience team helps with all of that. So once you arrive on campus, you'll be introduced to them during the orientation, and they are a fantastic group that will help you. So I'm hoping you've gone through this whole process and went, oh, I like those courses. Oh, it sounds like I could earn some money. It sounds like there's some great student experiences. How do I apply? So there's 3 ways that you can apply to the university. So firstly, you can just go on our website. If you're only applying to the University of Guelph, you can just click on it and apply just to the university. You pay 1 fee, and I think you can apply up to 3 different programs. Now, we do offer multiple offer letters. So you are allowed to apply to 3 programs. We don't have you rank them as your top, your second, your third. So if you get into all 3, you get 3 different offers sent to you. Obviously, you can only choose one, but if you're debating between a few or not sure you'll get into that one because it's a bit more competitive, you're welcome to apply to 3 or more programs if you would like. And you potentially could get multiple offer letters that you can choose from. The same applies if you want to apply through OUAC. This is the Ontario University Application Center. So we advise students that are applying to more than 1 school within Ontario to use the OUAC Application Center. It allows you to apply to multiple universities at the same time with a much cheaper rate. So instead of going to everyone's website and applying to them, this is just a central spot that all Ontario universities use, and you can apply to all of them there as well. Lastly, we are on the Common App. So if you're applying to a lot of US students or using the Common App to do your applications, you can just tick us, and we're also on the Common App as well. Now, it doesn't matter which way you apply, we get the application in the same way. So there's no one way or the other way. If you have a preference, we get the application exactly the same, and it doesn't in any way hinder your application process, whichever one you would like to do. So if you want to learn more about us, if you go to that website that's listed there, that will give you an overview of everything that's international on the page. That will kind of give you in terms of all the admission requirements, those prerequisite courses I spoke about. And what will pop up on the right I think it's at the right at the bottom, is it'll say UniBuddy. So this is a really cool part. If you just click chat with international students, this is a live portal that will allow you to chat with current international students. So if you have some questions and you're like, oh, I just want to ask a quick question, it's a nice little chat place that you can just ask students either from your region or from your program or in your language. There's also the ability to chat with staff. So if you go to the top and click over to staff, I'm a UniBuddy, for example, as are some of our admissions officers. So if there is a question you have about curriculum or admissions, you can just pop it in there as well and have a quick UniBuddy chat with us. We're on UniBuddy all the time. We chat with students all the time. So it's a really quick way just to have a chat with us, but more so to have a chat with current international students, just to hear about their experience. And again, on that same web page that you have at the top there on the right, it'll say the International Recruitment Team. If you just click on that, there is the ability to send us an email and book a one-to-one meeting with us. So if you feel you just have lots of questions at the end of this and it's not going to be dealt with in a chat and you don't want to send a whole email, you can just book a one-to-one 30-minute slot with us. Anyone on the team there, you can read about all of us and who you'd like to meet with. And we're happy to take that with you, with your parents, with anyone, to have a little 30-minute one-to-one chat between the two of us. So I hope that gives you a really quick overview of what the university is. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so sorry that I can't be there in person. I can only imagine your university search has just gone completely upside down from what you wanted it to be. So I'm so sorry that this happened on a big pivotal year, but I'm sure we'll all get back to normal in the coming months, and hopefully we can all see you on the Guelph campus. So thanks so much for coming. Here's my details again. So if you did want to pop me an email or ask me anything at the end, I'm happy to help. But thank you very much and good luck with your university search. And I hope you can look more into the University of Guelph.